What would you do if you had numerous platinum records, sold out tours across the globe, collabs with your idols, and the life-changing lifestyle after years of building your successful music career? Would you quickly chase the next charting record or disregard it all? Plenty of artists who have had the opportunity to have any sort of success in the music industry typically come with their own set of obstacles. Typically, they run into unrealistic expectations to meet the demand from their previous record. 21 Pilot's transition from Blurry Face to Trench came with its own expectations. Kanye's graduation into 808s and Heartbreaks that we all know, and Billie Eilish's debut record into her second studio album, Never Been Happier, had a stage in between each album's release, where the conversations of the artist's next move almost felt like it was a do or die in a way. Either meet the expectations and continue to run the numbers up, or come across as a one-record wonder and fade away from relevancy. But I want to talk about an uncommon example of an artist not giving in to their audience's wants and desires. Instead of retreating to the studio and scrambling to retain the same hype from the previous record and crush the expectations of their fans into the ground, they rather go a non-traditional route with an envious amount of confidence. I'm going to give a little backstory of how a solo act earned himself a 4-time platinum single, a gold record, and a sold-out 3-legged tour. And when you thought that this artist was going to take over the music scene and capitalize on his success, he completely vanished. He is known as Long Island's own Jon Bellion. Jon Bellion is known as a producer, singer, rapper, and songwriter. In his adolescence, Jon had a passion for both basketball and producing music. And when it came time in his high school years to decide if he was going to pursue basketball or his interest in music, he picked the latter. After making the decision in his junior year to chase his passion for music, he enrolled in the Five Towns College Music Program in Dix Hills, New York. Once he was there, he would get together with his college buddies and produce beats out of their dorms and compete in rap battles on campus.
And during that time was like, I feel like that was really the 10,000 hours, like, because I went to school with a bunch of kids from like all the boroughs that like made beats that were like MPC heads, and that was all I hung out with. It was all just like, come to my dorm room and let's make beats for 8 hours, and that was our video games.
Before he would eventually drop out after a year, he would be encouraged by his friends to release a mixtape, and he had been working on it during his stay at Five Towns, and they would pass these CDs out to people in hallways. But once he eventually left college to pursue music as his full-time career, he was met with a proposition from his dad.
I left college to do music full-time. My dad said if you get a full-time job and work at the catering hall like 6 days a week, you can leave school.
Wow.
And I asked my father to, whatever you were going to invest in me for the remaining 3 years of my college, whatever, can I take that investment as a business loan? And if I don't pay you back by the time I'm 22, I won't do music anymore, and I will come to the family business and work it. So basically, I left school, got a job at the catering hall. That mixtape was put out. I was in a bad place, like 6-7 months working, catering hall jobs are rough because you're working till 2 in the morning.
After Jon had worked this catering job for a decent amount of time, he ended up being fired due to issues with his new management taking over the business. As much as it felt like he was at an all-time low working this job, not having it put him in a position no adult would ever want to be in. But 3 days later, Jon received a call from Cara DioGuardi, an A&R executive from Warner Records. She mentions that someone from his college who had received one of Jon's CDs was interning for Warner and pitched Jon's mixtape to Cara as a final proposition for an A&R job.
Says, Matt Mashy brought your mixtape, and he needed a job so badly at the label because he was interning at that point. Apparently, he brought my CD that I was handing out in plastic bags in college on her desk and said, if you don't sign this kid tomorrow, you can fire me.
Cara believed that the entire mixtape was a collaboration of students writing, producing, mixing, and performing the songs together, which wasn't the case at all. Jon was doing all of it himself. Eventually, he would sign a publishing deal with Warner with the hopes of writing a few hits to build up capital to fund his personal music endeavors and work with his heroes to improve his artistry. And he would. Eminem's Monster and Jason Derulo's Trumpets are just a couple of the hits that would come out of his studio sessions. And numerous free mixtapes would start to garner attraction with the masses, and he could go on tour and sell out a couple hundred cap venues. All this hard work and discipline with just the main intention of not going back to his 9-to-5. These mixtapes would all share a similar personality and uniqueness to them, and it was all in the production style.
Give me a vocal track really quick. Let's put my vocal through a guitar amp and then put it on top of make it some tribal People are gonna think it's a guitar, but it'll be my voice. Use what you got.
This was a Jon Bellion trademark across all of his mixtapes and carried over to his first studio album, The Human Condition. Across the entire record, you can notice a lot of his inspiration being derived from Jay Dilla, Kanye West, and Pharrell Williams. The bouncy drums, the deep pockets, and the unorthodox use of vocal samples gave Jon's style a recognizable identity. These all aided the success of The Human Condition to reach gold and earn him a 4-time platinum single for All Time Low. Only 10 days after the album's release, he would go on the Human Condition tour. This would last from June 20th, 2016 to November 3rd, 2017, and this would have 3 legs that all entirely sold out. He would pretty much go radio silent for over a year and would disappear from social media with no explanation at all. And everyone is wondering, where's Jon? When is the new music dropping? He had mentioned in previous interviews about the possibility of putting his music to a halt to work as a songwriter and producer for other artists. And this would put a sense of fear into the fan base that the lack of news meant that there was no music to look forward to in the future. That was until he would release a snippet of a new single on January 25th, 2018 for his new single, Conversations with My Wife, where he would express his feelings on not wanting to be in the spotlight all the time and wishes for his love to last outside his social stature. And this would be a theme that would be covered across quite a bit of the album on songs like The Internet. But that wasn't the only thing that fans noticed off rip. The entire Jon Bellion production style fans came to love across his mixtape trilogy and chart-topping record was completely non-existent. No vocal samples were used as guitars, no pockets were filled with a scream, and nothing, it was just all gone. Typically, this change in art direction can be appreciated when it has been established early in an artist's career, like present-day Kanye, but the transition from Graduation to 808s and Heartbreaks was knowingly met with a lot of criticism and judgment. Or how Paramore dropped the punk sonics for an album to lean into a more psychedelic pop route that boasted a lot of positive reception. These artists earned themselves the opportunity to be artistically free and still have ears welcoming something experimental from time to time. And in a Genius interview from early 2019, Jon Bellion was talking with the head of artist relations, Rob Markman, about his reasoning for making the artistic decisions on his latest album, Glory Sound Prep. Jon says, if I'm going to start rapping more, who am I going to rap around? If you're not from New York and you don't know who Rock Marciano is and you love Lolo Lololo, are you going to be excited that I'm doing string arrangements for Rock Marciano? I don't know, but I can't let that stunt my growth as somebody who wants to develop further as an artist. Susie from Arkansas, who has my face on her Chief This Is It mood board, she might not appreciate how I'm growing, but I also didn't expect All Time Low and The Human Condition to do what it did. If you like the old me, there's plenty of artists that do what I was doing 4 years ago and they do it very well now. For me, it's just not how I could remain passionate about the gifts that God gave me. Since Glory Sound Prep was released in November 2018, we've had a huge drought of Jon's personal discography. Crop Circles would come out several months later after GSP, and I Feel It in late 2021. I'm not gonna lie, when that song first dropped, I thought it was time. I thought we were finally getting a new project, but then it's been over 2 years and there's still nothing new. But he's been at work for many other artists. Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber, Jungkook, Jon Batiste, Maroon 5, Halsey, Katy Perry, Miley Cyrus, Jonas Brothers, the list goes on. And he's earned 2 Grammy nominations just this month, numerous gold and platinum certifications for both singles and albums, and a cover of Switchfoot's Meant to Live from their anniversary album. He's been a man of his word and has stayed true to his goal as an artist. Rather than chasing hits and receiving notoriety with his face plastered all over social media and billboards, he would rather focus on his artistic ability instead. Possibly in the hopes that one day he would come back with new music to feed his fans who have been starving for a while now. Alright, either this is a tease for a new upcoming album, or he's just shitting on the Grammys. Either one seems valid to me. If you have any clue, let me know down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. After all this, Jon currently sits at a little over 4 million monthly listeners on Spotify. This may not seem like much to some, but he has always had more of a loyal fan base that shows up strong in numbers when they're fed new material. He would typically hang around the 7 million range, so to see him still hanging around the 4Ms really shows how attached people have become to his music. If he were to drop a new project, we could expect that anticipation to take him right back up to where he previously was, or even beyond with the possible features he could include. But then again, like as we discussed in this video, that's never been something Jon really wanted long term. I'll say it again, Jon has always had more of a passion over the profit he made, as long as that meant he didn't have to go back to the catering hall. And that really speaks volumes when you look at it from the perspective of a musician who really just does it for the love of the music. They don't need the numbers of people like The Weeknd or Taylor Swift. They just want to be able to support themselves and their passion for music. Jon doesn't owe me or any of his fans anything. He's doing exactly what he set out to do, and that is to feed people. Something Jon mentioned that really stuck with me while making these videos is that he would rather feed 25 people than entertain 100 people for a brief moment in time. That's what gives his art purpose, and why putting out an album every year or two just isn't always in the cards for him, and that's fine. Now, I don't think he's not ever going to release an album again, so I can say at the very least with confidence that when or if the time comes for new Jon music, we should really digest it the way it is meant to be digested. Don't listen to it for something catchy that doesn't make you think or react. Listen for what might move you and force you to think, question, or feel.